Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial here on this channel. In this class, I'll be teaching you how to sew a beautiful shift gown like this with squared ruffles, as you are seeing right there. So this shift gown is actually looking so beautiful. As you can see, it fits into my body right there. Okay, so you can see the sleeves, the pockets, and all that. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, please stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Alright, so we want to start off this tutorial right away. So to do this, I'll be using 2 yards of Ankara as the bodies, 3 yards of Ankara for the ruffles and the sleeves. I have a lace, just a little sample lace fabric. You can use any lace of your choice, half a yard, and plain to place under it, half a yard as well. Okay, so these are the fabric we are making use of. So I'll set these 3 aside till we'll get to that point. So the 2 yards is going to be the bodies of the shift gown. So I'm going to fold these 2 yards on the selvage lane. Of course, it's already folded. So once you have it this way, unfold, so you can see this part is unfold. I'll just go ahead and fold it again this way. So now I'm going to arrange this fabric the way I folded it now. So it's actually going to lay this way for us. Okay, so I have my 1 inch zipper allowance. So this will be my center front, and this is going to serve as my center back. So I have this folded to have this part unfold and this coming out with 1 inch. All right, so now we want to create our border line. That is the first thing we are going to do. So I'll just create my border line, and remember this is the center front and center back. I'll just go ahead and impute. It's a high neck, so I'm imputing 3.5 inches. It depends on how close you want it to be. Okay, let me do 3 inches. So by the time I sew, I will have it at 3.5 inches. Okay, so I'm doing 2 inches because it's actually a high neck. 3 inches. Okay, the depth width is 3 inches for the front and 3 inches for the neck depth for the front. 3 by 3, that's what I'm using since I'm working directly on fabric. So by the time I have this recreated, by the time I have it on sewn, I will have it at 3.5. I believe you understand that. So I've created a neckline for the back. Then right here, I'll also create for the front. For the back, I'll simply step down by 1 inch because it's going to have a zipper. So I'll go ahead and connect my neckline to the back this way. Can you see that? All right, so I'm done with that. Next is to take my shoulder divide by, my shoulder divide is 15, divided by 2 is 7.5. I'll add half an inch for sewing the sleeve. This is it. Then I'm going to leave it at this point and take my vertical measurement. So by right, I'm supposed to take my vertical measurement first before ever creating the neckline, but it's okay, we've created the neckline. So next I'll do is to place my tape on the shoulder. I'll mark my chest line. So my chest line here is 9. I'll use 9.5. So I'll be able to stitch on fabric. So I'll roll my line. After my chest line, I'm going to mark my waist. My waist is 17. I'll use 17.5, and I'll rule my line. I'll go over to my hip. Still from this point, I'll take my hip at 29. This is half an inch, that's 29.5. I'll rule my line. Can you see that? Then I will use everything I have here. Ankara comes at 45, so I'll just use the whole of 45 as my shift dress. Okay, if you want it to be at your knee, my knee length is 11. Okay, if I want it to rest right on the knee, I'll just go ahead and take the measurements from the shoulder again. This is my chest line, this is my half line, this is my hip line, then this is where I have my knee. This is exactly on my knee, but I just want to leave it at 45. I don't want it too on my knee. I want it a little above my knee. So it's all by your choice. The length will not be an issue here. So now on the chest line, I'll measure my 8 inches, which I marked. I've already stepped down. I've already marked 8 inches here. So I'll step down by 1 inch and connect the 1 inch from my shoulder this way, and I'll come this way and connect my armhole. So the armhole I'm creating here, I'm creating armhole from, I'll find the midpoint. So my midpoint falls at here. So I'm creating both front and back. I'll find the midpoint of my chest line. Okay, so I just find the midpoint right now. So placing my tape after the shoulder drop, this is it, and this is the midpoint. So I'm going to create the armhole I'm creating my armhole for the back first, which is half an inch. I'll mark, and for the front, which is 3/4 of an inch. So you can see the two lines right here. So I will connect the two lines accordingly to the shoulder drop, the half an inch and the 1/4 of an inch. All right, so I'll come over to the chest line again, and I'm going to measure my chest. My chest is 40 divided by 4. This is 10 inches. Okay, so that 10 inches, I'm going to connect both back and front sleeve to it. Okay, so I'll first connect that of half an inch, and then I'll connect that of 1/4 of an inch. Can you see that? All right, so I'm done with that. So now we want to start adding the circumferences for the horizontal circumferences. So now I'm working with, this is a shift dress, and a shift dress is supposed to be free. So since the shift dress is supposed to be free, from this 10 inches, remember my bust is 40 divided by 4 is 10. I'm going to add 2 inches. Okay, 2 inches I'm adding is 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. Note we are working on fabric, so you add 2 inches. So I've added 2 inches there. Next, I'll come to the waist. My waist is also 40, which is 10. And I'm also going to add an ease to the waist. So here, I really want the waist to be a little bit free. So I'll just add 2.5 inches. I'll use 1 inch and 1.5 as the freeness. So here I added 2.5 after my waist. Now I'll come over to my hip. My hip is 50 divided by 4 is 12.5. This is my 12.5. So I'm going to add ease of 3 inches here. This includes sewing of 1 inch and 2 inches for ease. So you can see how I added my ease. Here, after my circumference of my bust, I added 2 inches. I added 2.5, and I added 3 inches. So what I have here, I'm going to measure everything I have here. From here to here, I have, okay, from here to here, I have, okay, here is 12.5. 12.5 plus 3, that's 15.5. So I'll transfer that 15.5 here too. Okay, I'll just transfer it here too on the hem line. So I'll just make a straight line this way. Okay, I'll make a straight line this way. So if you're on a bigger size, you will not use 2 inches. Please take note. If you're on a bigger size, you're not going to use 2 inches of 2 yards of Ankara. You'll be using about 2.5 or 3 yards. So on the hip line, this is the hip line. You can see how I placed my ruler to curve the hip to the waist. And then once I'm done with that, I'll place my curve ruler. Note how I'm placing my curve rulers. I'll connect to the chest this way. Can you see? So that's what we have right here on the dress. So I'll just go ahead and cut out the back. Okay, and then once I cut out the back, we are going to contour the back too. Okay, so I love to contour my back because of my zipper, so I don't have a zip bulge. So what I will do is to mark out, you can see what I'm doing here. I'll carefully mark out this my line, so that by the time I take off the front, I'll be able to contour the back. After marking out right now, I'm going to cut the size, as you can see right. It's time for us to contour the center back. Note that what we have here is the line. Can you see? That is the center back. Please don't be confused with this other line. So from this 1 inch zipper, I'm going to go in from here, from this one, I'll go in by 1/4 of an inch. This is my 1/4 of an inch. So you are going to place your ruler this way. Can you see what I did? From that waist, I will place my ruler this way. Just watch how I'm placing my ruler. I'll make it get to the neckline. Then I'm going to rule a straight line. I'll come down here too and make it go from the waist to the hip, and I'll rule another straight line. Okay, so actually you need to be careful when ruling this line. So I've done that. Now I'll cut out the zip bulge. So this is actually what we'll be having on the zip bulge, and that is what I'm cutting off too. Can you see that? Alright, so now we are done with cutting the front and the back. Okay, we've contoured the back dress. So now we want to start working on the facing, and for this facing I'm using a plain fabric for it, and I'll place my lace on top of it. So that plain fabric is just I'll just place it on fold this way. Okay, I'll place it on fold this way. This will be the center front of it. So once you have placed it, you'll now come in with the dress this way. So it all depends on where you actually want the shape. But I'm using my chest line because this is my bust line, and I wouldn't want this design to get up to my bust line. The front armhole. So what we are doing here is to cut out the shape of the collar of the facing. All right, then once we have done that, note that we want it to stop at the chest line. So since we want it to stop at the chest line, I'll just raise it up this way. Can you see? So this is the chest line. I'll just make a mark of my chest line as I see it right here. I'll come in here. Of course it terminates there, so I'll just raise it up this way and rule my line across. So I'll come with my ruler this way and rule my line this way. Can you see that? So once I've ruled it, I'm going to cut, adding my seam allowance. So I just add 0.5 inch seam allowance, okay? Because we are going to weave that part. We are going to weave it before we sew to the dress. So this is what we have at the end of the day. So I just take off my pins off the main dress, and we'll now come again to continue the construction. So I'll pin, and I'll pin. All right, so now I'm going to take my bust pan, because that dress curve is sitting on the bust pan. Okay, so I'll just take, bust pan is 4, I'll add 1 inch, which is 5. Then I'll come over here from the neckline, I'll just mark 3 inches inwards. Okay, so that's how the dress is going to sit for us. So because if you look at that place is just a square, so you can even keep it straight this way. Okay, you can move a little bit and keep it a little straight this way. So it all depends. If you want 3, you can do 3.5 too. So I'm just thinking if we, so it does not look so small, so you can do 3.5 this way and mark. Then add 1/2 inch on the 3.5. Remember, if we are weaving it all around, so you just add 1/2 inch so you can be able to weave it all around. So I just go ahead and cut off this part. Can you see? So that's how to go about it. So bust pan, add 1 inch, or you can add 2 inches after your bust pan. Do 3.5, okay, to this point to get this line. Then add 1/2 inch to sew it. So I'll just go ahead and notch my center front, because that's how I'm going to place it on the dress. So we are done. So next I will do is open it up and place I'll place this like this, and then cut out. All right, so I'm done laying it right now, and I've secured it with my pin all around. So I'm going to my machine now. I'll just hold it down with straight stitches to hold this one to this one. Let's stitches around it this way. Okay, so by the time we iron it, it lays nice and flat. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to cut out the facing, because once we get to the machine right now, it will be all about sewing all the way. So I just want to arrange the neckline to cut out my facing. So in cutting out my facing is quite easy. So I'll just pick up my fabric now and use it to cut my facing. So we've been cutting our facing in this class a lot if you have been following our tutorials. So I'll just fold in I'm just trying to get, okay, that's the right side. So I'll just fold it on the to unfold. Okay, so it has to be unfold also. So once you drop it right there this way, you secure with your pins and cut out the front facing. So I'll go this way, then I'll go this way. So please be careful when you are doing this. Okay, Then I'll now, it depends on where you want the facing to be, but for me, once I've gotten the neckline, I love to always go 3 inches of my facing. So you can just decide to mark from that point like this, 3 inches, so you'll be able to fold, you know, and top stitch or run your stitches. I believe you understand what I'm trying to talk about. So 3 inches is fine and good for the front facing. So this is my front facing. Then I'll come back with the back dress to create the back facing. So for the back facing, this one is easy. I can just come in with my fabric again. This is part of the fabric I just cut out from the dress I'm using for my facing. So I'll just place it on fold 2, though I'll just have to do this. Okay, this is the zipper line. So once you have placed it, make sure it relaxes very well this way. So what I'll do is to cut out, arrange it very well, please. So I'm trying to arrange it very well, and I'll just go this way. Okay, then I open up here to the extent I want. Take off this. So once I've taken it off, I'll still go round from that point, 3 inches like I did in the other one. Can you see? So when you have your facing this way, it's easy, very easy and simple. Can you see? So we have front and back facing. This is front and this is back facing. So I will go ahead to sew the facings. So I'll go to my machine now. Before we sew these facings, I'll just keep them. Before we go about the sewing of the facing, we are going to the ironing table. I'm going to lay my hemming gum. I work with my hemming gum a lot. So you just place your hemming gum this way, that way. I'm just placing them very closely where it will be able to stick for me. So once I'm done with it, okay, so you can still place like this for the upper part. So I'll go to the ironing table now. Once I'm done, I'll place this on it. Okay, make sure you arrange it that way and iron with my steam. So by doing that, everything lays nice and flat. So let me quickly do that now, but please ensure you weave these edges first. Okay, this is a tutorial, that's why I'm just doing it this way, but you need to do what? Weave before you do this. To your serger, you weave around and come back. That's why you added those inches. Okay, all right, so this is what it looks like after we are done. Okay, so next is to bring in the facing. So this is my facing. I'll place it this way. So I'll go to my machine now. I'm going to run my facing and top. I'm done with the facing and I'm taking off the pins I used. So this is what the facing looks like. So because it's curvy, I always advise you make notches. Can you see how I'm making the notch? Be careful you don't cut out your seam line. So by the time you have notched and notched and notched, next you do is to flip all these seams that I notched on the side of the and top stitch right this way. So I'm going to do that now. Then for the back, I've already placed the facing for the both of them. You can see the facing, and I've stitched at 0.5. okay, so for the back also I'll repeat the same thing I just did here. I'll just make small notches. The cover at the back is not too much, so I just make small notches and flip the seams on the part of the and top stitch. So I'll do that for all of them now. Now I'm done with the facing, as you can see. So by the time we iron it, everything goes in this way. Okay, so for now we are not ironing it because we still need it to go up, so we'll be able to stitch the ruffles. So the ruffles, this is how to go about the ruffles. The ruffles, I'm going to measure. If you actually want to know the number of ruffles you need on this facing, simply measure from here to here 9 inches, from there to here 9 inches. 9 plus 9 is 18, and from here to here 13 inches. So 9 plus 9, 18 plus 13 inches. So I will have about 21. Okay, 18 plus 13, I will have about 31. So 31 right now, I'm going to multiply by 4. If you need too many ruffles, that's 124. So if you have 124, a yard is 36. So 124 divided by 36 will give us 3 yards, 3.4. That is 3.5 yards. So I got myself 3 yards. So I'll just manage 3 yards of fabric. Okay, I'll just make the ruffles with just 3 yards. So if you want more, you can even join your fabric. But since I have a whole 3 yards right here, so what I'm going to do, I'll simply place that my 3 yards on fold, and I folded it on another fold, so I'll be able to get this done quickly. Okay, so what I did was to arrange the selvage properly. Okay, so they are equal. So once you arrange it and make sure they are equal this way, next is to take 5 inches from there. Okay, I'm taking this 5 inches because I'm going to also hem the tip of it. Okay, the average, after hemming, we are supposed to have 4 inches. So by the time we sew, our ruffle will land us at 3.5. So just simply do what I'm doing here. Mark out 5 inches. So the 5 inches, I'm going to, this already have a selvage line, so I might just fold it in a little bit. But what we are aiming at is, at the end of the day, after sewing, we'll have, after sewing in, we'll have 4 inches. So by the time we sew half an inch on top of the ruffle, we'll have 3.5. So 5 inches is good. I'll just cut it this way to the end. Can you see? So if you need more ruffle to this, you can even cut another 4 inches and make more ruffle. So what I will do, I'll still cut another. Okay, this is 3 yards. I'll make it 6 yards. Because those ruffles you are seeing there, the pleating is really that much. So I think we want it full. So it's not gathers. If it's to be gathers, then we'll multiply by that 4. But since we have pleating, we'll be adding pleating allowance. And that our pleating allowance is another 5 inches. So it's better you have an excess. By the time you ruffle and have an excess to your taste, that is what I will encourage or advise. Okay, so to your taste, you do what? You can discard the rest. Okay, so 5 inches, 5 inches. So I just cut. So I have another. So like I said, the ruffle is actually much. I'll go ahead now to join them. So please make sure you note the part that is front and the part that is back. So I'll just neatly check it, and I think I've gotten it. I'll neatly check it, and then I'll match it up. So I'll just sew this way now, join it together, then we'll begin to hem the strip and then take it to the dress and sew. So this is the facing. You have to separate the facing, okay? Then you take your measurement of where the width you want this to be. So from here, I'll measure 3 inches. That is where I want it to be. So at these 3 inches, I'll start to sew. So you can see, like I earlier explained on the table, this part I just folded once because it has the selvage line, and here I hemmed properly. I also hemmed on this part. So I just place this way on that 3 inches, okay? I'll place my stitches where the stitches is, because I'm sewing direct. I'm going to pleat in very neatly the strips into the dress, as you can see right here. So I've gotten to this junction, and on this junction I'll just position. You can see how I'm tilting mine. I just want to make sure I have this, okay? So this is what I do to it. When I get here, I'll now take this way, can you see, to form that. I'm just trying to form that that square, okay, that we have there. So although it might not really, if you are not careful, you might not really have it, but I just do my best to have the square. At least I have a little square. So if you are covering it with your trimming, nice and fine, it will just cover that part. But even if you are not covering it, it's okay. That part is really very technical, but I think I'll go it that way. Okay, so I'll just go it that way, follow the stitches again like that till I get to the end. So I'll finish it up right now, then we'll proceed. Right here, so you can see the squared parts, and you can see how we achieved it. Okay, so I used only 3 yards. So if you notice, you can see where I joined. I just have a little remaining. So 3 yards is okay. There won't be need to join any fabric. So I stopped at this point to show you what I'm going to do next. Okay, so because I'm going to fold in this, just like I fold in this, from this point now, I'll just measure 1 inch, which I will use to fold. Okay, so from here to here, I'm going to cut. I'm going to use that 1 inch to top stitch. Okay, so this is the excess we joined. Just 3 yards is okay. So I'll just go in now and fold this way, so everything stops exactly at this point. Okay, so now that we are done with the ruffles, next is the pockets. Okay, so on the pocket part, I'll just use this side to show you. This is the half line. So if you want to sew your pockets, let me keep it this way because I already have the line here. So this line can also be extended here. I don't want to mark too much chalk line. So I'll just come down from here by 2 inches. So my pocket will start from 2 inches. So I'll make a mark. And from here, 2 inches, I'll make a mark. So that's where I'm going to attach my pocket right now. So I'm going to cut out the pockets. So right now I'm cutting out the pocket. I have many videos on how to cut pockets. You can check it out. After sewing the pockets, next is the zipper. I'm going to the machine now to sew my zip. Alright, lovely people, so I fixed my zipper right now. So I just thought of showing you how I'm going to fold my facing. So I'll just go this way. I'll push this part this way on the edge, and I'll do this. So I'll just secure it with my pin and follow the already existing stitch here. That's what I'll do here to finish it up. So now you can see I'm done with my zipper. So the next thing I'll do is to bring in the front bodies. Okay, so this is the front bodies, after which I will, sew, iron down this part. So I will just bring my back and I'm going to pin them this way, okay, facing to facing, and I'm going to run a long stitch following here. Or you can still do this, you can fold in this and bring in this and fold, go this way, okay, then you sew. So whichever way you want to do that. All right, so we are done with the neckline, the zipper, everything is ready. So next thing is to turn to the sides and sew the sides before the sleeve. The sleeve is going to be the last. So I'm going to match up the side right now, pocket to pocket. I'll lay them open this way, making sure it's matching up. So as I'm sewing now, going to my machine now, I'm going to sew 1 inch. Once I get here at 1 inch, I'll sew in half an inch, come out at another 1 inch and close. I'll do that for the both sides. Right now I'm done sewing the sides and the sleeve. So right here on the sleeve, like I told you, I'll be adding extra 2 inches on my sleeve, 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for stitching. I still did the same, but the rest remains 0.25. And here I added 8 inches because I'm going to gather this into this cuff I'm having right here. So now the first thing I'm going to do now on this sleeve, because before I take it off, is to notch the grain line and notch my center front. This will help me when fixing this sleeve. And next I'm going to mark the wrong side of this fabric. I'll raise it up and I'll mark my wrong side. Can you see? So now once I'm done with it, I'm free to take off my pattern, as you can see. So once I've taken off my pattern right now, the next thing I'm going to do is to sew the sleeve. I'm going to first take one piece and gather. So I'll run my gather stitches here first, this way. It will gather this way. Then this is my cuff. So my cuff is 2 right here, as you can see. So the cuff measures from here to here, it measures 3.5, but the length of my cuff here is 11 inches. So by the time I sew half an inch, I'll be left with 10 inches as my space. So now this is the wrong side of my cuff. I'll also mark my wrong side. Very important to always indicate your wrong side. So I'll use one cuff to demonstrate also. I'll just go right side to right side. I'll sew that half an inch now. Next is to sew the cuff into the sleeve, as you can see. So I'll turn it and sew to the sleeve. So right now I'm done fixing the sleeves, as you can see right here with the cuff. So all I will do now is to go and weave the inside of this dress. Okay, I did the same for this other part of the sleeve as well. Okay, so that's how to go about this beautiful dress on the thumbnail. So thank you very much for coming to this class once again. You can see the pockets. I didn't show you the pockets, so this is what I have on the pockets. Okay, although I used a different fabric, but you can see sewing it this way, you still have the edge neat and clean. So thank you very much for coming to this tutorial once again. If you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends. Right now I'm done gathering the under part of the sleeve and I'm going to sew into the cuff right here. See you in the next class. Bye.